There's a mental technique that made samurai walk calmly into battles where death was certain. No shaking hands, no racing heart, just absolute presence. And today, you'll discover exactly how they did it, and how you can use this same system before your next job interview, difficult conversation, or any moment where fear tries to control you. Have you ever noticed how some people stay completely calm under pressure, while others fall apart? What do they know that you don't? The answer lies in something Japanese samurai discovered 800 years ago, a specific mental protocol that literally rewires how your brain processes fear, and once you understand how, everything changes. Before I show you the exact system and how a regular guy applied it to transform his life, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment what fear is holding you back right now. Now, back to the video. Marcus was 29 years old and had a secret. Every time he had to speak in front of more than 3 people, his body betrayed him. His hands shook, his voice cracked. His mind went completely blank. High school presentations, he'd fake being sick, work meetings, he'd stay silent, watching opportunities pass to people with half his intelligence. His boss once said, "Marcus, you have great ideas. Why don't you ever share them?" He wanted to, but the moment attention turned to him, his throat closed, his heart pounded, his brain screamed, "Danger, get out." By 29, Marcus had become invisible. He'd been passed over for promotion 3 times. Always the same reason: we need someone who can present to clients. Then one Monday, his manager said, "We're restructuring. Every analyst will now be client-facing. You'll present twice a week. First presentation in 3 weeks. 30 people, including C-suite. If you can't do that, I can't keep you on the team." Marcus had 3 choices: face his fear, lose his job, or quit. That night, searching desperately online, he found an article that changed everything. How samurai walked into battle without fear. The ancient practice of dying before you die. The opening line stopped him cold. You cannot eliminate fear by trying to be brave. You eliminate fear by accepting death. Samurai weren't fearless. They felt fear just like everyone else. But they had a system, a daily mental practice called Shinigurai, preparation for death. Every morning, before battle, a samurai would sit in meditation and visualize his death, not in a morbid way, in a precise, accepting way. He would imagine a blade entering his body. He would see his blood on the ground. He would feel his consciousness fading. And then he would accept it completely. Today, I am already dead. Everything after this moment is borrowed time. This sounds insane, but here's the neuroscience. Your brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and a social threat. It responds to public speaking the same way it responds to a tiger attack, with cortisol, adrenaline, and panic. The samurai practice works because it forces your brain to confront the worst-case scenario directly. You don't avoid death, you accept it. And once your brain realizes you've already accepted the worst thing that could happen, it has nothing left to protect you from. The fear loses its power because you've already surrendered to it. A Stanford researcher explains, avoidance strengthens fear, exposure weakens it. The most powerful form of exposure is mental rehearsal of the worst outcome combined with radical acceptance. Marcus read that and realized he'd spent 15 years avoiding fear. What if he did the opposite? The next morning at 5 a.m., Marcus sat on his bedroom floor with a notebook. He wrote, "What is the worst thing that can happen?" He forced himself to be brutally specific. "I stand up to present. My hands shake so badly I drop my notes. My voice cracks. Someone laughs. I freeze completely. I can't speak. I'm fired. I lose my apartment. I'm back at my parents' house. A complete failure." His heart pounded just writing it, but he kept going. Can I survive this? And then slowly, yes, I can survive this. It would be painful, but I would not die. And if I'm alive, I can rebuild. He closed his eyes and visualized the entire scenario. He saw himself shaking. He heard people laughing. He felt the shame. And then he said out loud, "I accept this. If this happens, I accept it." Something cracked open, a tiny space between him and his fear. For 20 minutes every morning, Marcus did this death meditation. He also added 3 other samurai practices. Cold exposure, 30 seconds of cold water after his shower, training his nervous system that discomfort doesn't equal danger. Box breathing, inhale 4 counts, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. 5 minutes to activate his parasympathetic nervous system. Sitting meditation, 10 minutes at night, just watching his thoughts pass without reacting. Total time, 35 minutes per day. By day 5, something shifted. In a work meeting, his boss asked a question. Normally, Marcus would stay silent, but this time he thought, I've already accepted the worst. I'm already dead. This is borrowed time. He raised his hand. I have a theory. His voice didn't shake. He explained his analysis for 90 seconds. His boss nodded. Good catch, Marcus. It wasn't perfect, but it was movement. For the first time in 15 years, he'd spoken up without his body betraying him. 3 weeks later, the day came. First client presentation, 30 people. Marcus woke at 5 a.m. and did his death meditation. He visualized freezing mid-sentence, everyone seeing him as weak, and then, I accept this. I've already died. This is borrowed time. Cold shower, box breathing. He got dressed. At 9:45 a.m., he walked into the conference room. His heart pounded, but it felt different, like an observer watching from a distance rather than drowning him. He stood up. 30 faces turned toward him. The old panic surged. His body screamed, danger, run, and then, I've already accepted the worst. This moment is a gift. He opened his mouth. Good morning, thank you for being here. His voice was steady. His hands weren't shaking. For 18 minutes, Marcus presented. He wasn't perfect. He stumbled once, forgot one data point, but he kept going because he'd already accepted failure. When he finished, the VP of sales said, "This is excellent work. Let's implement this immediately." After the meeting, his manager said, "I don't know what you've been doing, but keep doing it. That was the most confident I've ever seen you." That night, Marcus cried, not from shame, but relief. The prison door had opened. But this is where the real lesson begins, because 2 weeks later, everything fell apart. Marcus's second presentation, 50 people, including investors. He prepared the same way, but 5 slides in, his mind went blank, completely blank. The silence stretched, 10 seconds. Someone coughed, his hands started shaking. I'm sorry, I lost my place. He stumbled through the rest. It wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't good. That night, he felt the old shame returning. He'd failed. After all that work, it hadn't worked. He was still broken. He skipped his evening meditation. The next morning, he slept in. No practice. He told himself he'd start again tomorrow. Tomorrow became 3 days. The fear crept back. Then he remembered a line from the Hagakure, the samurai code. A man's whole life is a succession of moment after moment. If one fully understands the present moment, there will be nothing else to pursue. Marcus realized his mistake. He'd been using the practice to avoid failure. But the teaching wasn't, you'll never fail. The teaching was, you've already died. Failure is irrelevant. Just return to the moment. He'd failed, and he was still alive. The world hadn't ended. He had a choice. Give up or return to the practice. The next morning, he set his alarm for 5 a.m. This time, he added a new piece to his meditation. He visualized failure and then returning. He saw himself freezing, apologizing, and continuing anyway, because that's what samurai actually did. They didn't avoid death, they made peace with it. And once you make peace with the worst thing, everything else becomes manageable. This is wabi-sabi, the Japanese acceptance of imperfection. Nothing is perfect, nothing is permanent, and that's where beauty exists. Over the next 6 months, Marcus gave 24 presentations. 4 were excellent, 12 were good, 6 were mediocre, 2 were bad. But each time, he survived. And each time, the fear had less power. 9 months later, Marcus had transformed. He could present without panic. He'd been promoted. But he realized he'd been asking the wrong question. Not, how do I eliminate fear, but what's worth being afraid for? This is where the samurai teaching goes deeper. They didn't eliminate fear just to eliminate fear. They had ikigai, a reason for being. a purpose bigger than comfort. Marcus asked himself, why does this matter? At first, to keep my job, to not be embarrassed. But he pushed deeper. He wrote, I want to be someone who doesn't hide, someone my future children can respect, someone who proves you can become who you want to be, not who fear says you have to be. That was his ikigai. Not career success, identity. He wanted to be the person who showed up even when terrified. Once he identified that, everything shifted. Presentations weren't about performing well. They were about living in alignment with who he wanted to be, and when it's about identity rather than performance, fear loses its grip entirely. Let me give you the exact protocol Marcus used, one you can start as early as tomorrow. It's called the Daily Samurai Fear Protocol, and it takes just 35 minutes a day. In the morning, you begin with a 20-minute death meditation where you deliberately visualize your worst fear and ask yourself, can I survive this? You answer, yes. I accept it and say out loud, I am already dead. This moment is borrowed time. Immediately after, you end your shower with 30 seconds of cold water, breathing slowly and training your body to understand that discomfort does not mean danger. You then complete 5 minutes of box breathing, inhaling for 4 seconds. Holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and holding again for 4, repeating the cycle calmly. In the evening, you spend 10 minutes in sitting meditation, simply watching your thoughts without engaging with them. When fear appears, you acknowledge it by saying, there is fear, and then allow it to pass without resistance. Before any fear-inducing event during the day, you take 3 minutes for box breathing. Repeat the phrase, I've already died. This is borrowed time. Visualize the worst possible outcome, fully accept it, and then take action anyway. That's the entire system. 35 minutes a day. It's not complicated, just a consistent practice of facing what you've been avoiding. And this isn't mysticism. Science backs it up. A 2019 study showed that imaginal exposure, combined with acceptance, reduced anxiety symptoms by 60% in just 6 weeks. Navy SEALs use these exact techniques before missions. The samurai weren't practicing superstition, they were practicing practical psychology. Today, Marcus is 32. He's director of analytics. He speaks at conferences. Last month, his brother asked him to be best man at his wedding. 5 years ago, Marcus would have made an excuse. This time, absolutely, I'd be honored. Because that's the transformation. Marcus didn't conquer fear. He changed his relationship with it. He stopped seeing fear as the enemy and started seeing it as the price of admission for the life he wants. You will never reach a point where fear disappears, but you can reach a point where fear is no longer in charge. Here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, 5 a.m., do 20 minutes of death meditation. Take your biggest fear, public speaking, difficult conversations, asking someone out, starting your business. Visualize the worst case scenario, feel it, and then say, I accept this. I've already died. This moment is borrowed time. Do that for 7 days, 7 consecutive mornings, and I promise, you will not be the same person on day 8. Subscribe to this channel, comment below, what fear will you face using this system? Come back in 7 days and report your progress. Remember, samurai weren't fearless. They were fearful. They felt every ounce of terror, but they walked forward anyway. Fear is not your enemy. Avoidance is. Face it. Accept it. Walk through it. You are already dead. Everything after this is borrowed time. Use it. If you've watched this far, thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Walk with honor. Follow the path. Embrace the fear.